Hey, hello, and welcome. I am Debbie Peterson of Getting to Clarity, and this is another episode of Getting to Clarity. This is the place where busy women leaders come to get tips and strategies to create more success in their leadership with less sacrifice to what they hold dear in their life. So I'm so glad you're here because today we are talking about how to have a life outside of work. And I'll tell you, this is a real common theme that I see with my clients, that I see with my audiences. And so I wanted to make sure that we were tackling that today. So stay tuned. Now, one of the things that my client said earlier this year was, I don't have a life. And it wasn't just, I don't have a life. I mean, it was said with weight and with sorrow. It was affecting her on so many levels. It was affecting her spiritually. She didn't have any sort of connection to source, capital S, to God, the universe, the oneness, whatever it is that you call it, but that thing that is bigger than you, that you have connection and you get guidance from in whatever form that takes place in your life. And she didn't have that. It was kind of like she was adrift. It was affecting her mentally, just because this ruminating on what was going wrong in her life, what was going wrong in her career. And it wasn't where she wanted it to be, but she didn't know where it wanted it to be. And the more she tried to figure it out, the more she tries to Rubik's Cube it, the more it wouldn't come. And then it started to affect her emotionally because so much of her identity was tied into the work that she did. And if things weren't going right at work, then it affected every single other area of her life. And then soon you get into a funk and it starts to affect you physically. And this is not the direction that I want you to go in. So, and not all women struggle with this to that degree where it's something oppressive, where it's something heavy, where it is something that just kind of settles on you every day and you can't shake it. For some women, it is more slight than that. It may show up as routinely allowing calls and emails after dinner when you're home, when you're supposed to be with your family. It may show up as after dinner going back to work. Oh, I just got to get a couple of more things done so I'm ready for tomorrow. But the problem is that doesn't happen, once or twice. It's happening nearly every single night. It can also show up as, you know, recognizing that all of a sudden you've got no hobbies. You have nothing that you do for fun. Your life is all work, that you've let your friends go or your friends have been distanced and there's nothing else. Or it just might be, all right, I'm just feeling that this is not where I want to be, that you're feeling stuck, that you're feeling frustrated, that no matter how well you were doing in your career, something might be missing. So it's a spectrum, it's a range. And so today, I want to share 3 strategies that can help get you back on track because when you live that way long term, it can have real physical implications. Worrying about the job day and night, thinking about what the problems are and what the issues are and trying to figure those out can show up as a lot of stress in your body. Relationships can strain, sleep can suffer. I mean, you name it. And when you take on a lot of stress for a long period of time, a lot of strain for a long period of time, it'll find a way to affect you physically. It may be headaches that you can't get rid of. It may be backaches that just plague you all day long. It may show up more serious than that, in that it is cardiovascular issues or anxiety or depression or something else. So I know that there's a professional part of you and there's a personal part of you, but you're one person. So addressing this is really key. So as a working woman who has responsibilities, no joke, whether the responsibilities are at work, whether the responsibilities are outside of work, whether the responsibilities are with your family, you've got a lot going on. So how do you bring yourself and what it takes for you to have a life outside of work back to the forefront? So I want to give you 3 tips. And the first tip to do this is to figure out specifically what changed. So if you in your life have had a period of time where things were better, when there was more harmony in your life and your work. And I don't say balance because balance is a bad word, at least in my book, because balance is hard. To keep things balanced takes a lot of effort. And so, harmony, what happened? What was going on before when things were better? And what changed? And you maybe think, well, I'm working too much. Okay, that's a little too simplistic. Start with, I'm working too much, and then dig down and start uncovering how specifically did that shift? Was it, subtle changes that I'm going to leave work at 5:30, but now all of a sudden it's 6 o'clock. Even that half hour makes a big difference. Is it taking early meetings in the morning, early morning meetings because it's convenient for everyone else, not necessarily you? Is it that you have then no time to exercise, no time to plan meals that are good fuel for your body? Are you just grabbing things and you don't even feel good with what you're eating? Is it that you don't have any quiet time anymore? You used to love to just have a cup of tea and think, and you don't give yourself that. So ask yourself what specifically changed. If it was okay before, what has changed to this point? Start listing it out, as many things as you can think of. Quantity over quality, whatever pops into your head is the right answer, and start getting these out. And you'll start to get information. You'll start to get gold about what it is that you can do, because only when you bring this up from the unconscious into the conscious thinking mind can you do anything about it. So make that list. The second thing is ask yourself, what do you want instead? And you may not even know what it is that you want instead. And that's also very common. But let's start finding out why. And so many women who are, uh, they find themselves in this place where they're just struggling. They don't, they know they're not where they want to be, but they don't know where they're at. They are frustrated. They are overwhelmed. They feel stuck, and they don't know what to do about it. And those emotions, those feelings are coming up for a reason. So that's really great that it's happening. It's what happens after that. And so, what I'd like you to do is a little exercise. Get out a piece of paper and a pen, and I want you to write a column of 6 numbers, 1 through 6. And I want you to write the 6 generally accepted areas of life. So, career, whatever it is you do for work, however it is that you build wealth, family, and you get to define family. Usually it is close family, your immediate family. Next is spirituality. Again, whatever it is that you do to connect with God or whatever higher power you believe in. And that could be everything from organized religion to yoga, meditation, doesn't matter. The third area is relationships. And generally, those are intimate relationships if you have a spouse or a significant other or a partner. If you don't, it might be really close friends. And next would be health and fitness, anything that you do to improve your body. And the last one is personal development, anything that you do to improve your mind, to improve yourself as a person overall, outside of health and fitness. What I want you to do is take a moment, and literally a moment, rapid fire, go through and put them in order of importance. Which particular area is the most important in your life right now? And then the second most important, third most important, fourth most important, you're going all the way down to 6. Okay. I want you to choose an order. Then look at the first couple. Look at the first couple and say, okay, if these are the 2 areas of life that are the most important to me, then start making your ask. Get another piece of paper, put the 2 areas of life at the top, and just start asking yourself, what does this area of life look like when it's ideal? I mean, if the world is your oyster, okay, if you can make an ask of the universe exactly what it is that you want, what are you asking for? What is it that you want? How do you want that area of life to be? And it doesn't matter if you can't do it right now, but just think ideally, in a perfect world, what would that look like? Start thinking about that. And as you do, you will start to stumble across and uncover, oh, this is what I want instead. Okay. So, ask yourself that question, what it is that you want instead. Take yourself through that exercise. The third tip is find your joy. My great friend Polo Tate says, "Don't ever let anyone steal your joy." And she is absolutely right. There's a story about a woman who was struggling. And so she goes to see the old wise woman. And as she sits at the old woman's feet, she just pours out her heart and soul to the old woman saying, "I am just I need guidance. I'm struggling with where the world is at. I am having a hard time with my son and the choices that he's making. I just feel so much pressure in my life. It's not right. It's going all wrong." And the old woman looked down upon her with compassion and said, "My child, what brings you joy?" And that's quite an epiphany. What brings you joy? So many women that I coach and that I listen to that get back to me with my emails and in my audiences tell me that they've let everything go. What brings you joy? What are the things that you used to do that you don't give yourself time for anymore? Maybe it was just listening to music that you really enjoyed. So could you try that instead of listening to the audiobook that you think you have to read in order to get ahead in work? Can you give yourself that piece of joy? Is it carving out 10 or 15 minutes and just taking a walk in the woods and being in the quiet and being in nature? Is it that you used to love painting and, oh my gosh, you can't even remember the last time that you did that? So you give yourself an hour on the weekend to be able to do that. Out of how many hours that we have in any given week? There's what, 160 some hours in a week, and you can't take 1 hour for yourself to do something that brings yourself joy? Don't you deserve that? So think about that and start incorporating that into your day. What brings you joy? Because you deserve that. If you are also ready to claim more success with less sacrifice in your life, then I invite you to go to the Clarity Community. The Clarity Community is the place where you can go as a woman in business and declare that I'm going to become the CEO of my leadership and life, and that you want to be surrounded by wicked smart, like minded women who want to get there too, to support and be supported. And if this is something that sounds great to you, then you can go to www.theclaritycommunity.com and check it out. So, until next time, here is wishing you all the clarity that you deserve and the life outside of work that you desire. So have a really great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.